Hello everyone, happy Career Saturday. My name is Yvonne Akimoden. I'm a HR career coach, a HR consultant and a career coach, and I work with people over 40 seeking a career change. So thank you for joining me today. Happy Career Saturday. I hope your day is going well. Today's video is going to focus on making a transition from employed to self-employed. But before we go into that, I just want to recap very briefly on what we discussed last week. Last week, we talked about career options for people over 40. And the options that we looked at were threefold. We looked at people transferring from one particular career to another, but still remaining employed. And the second option we looked at was people moving from employed to self-employed, which is the one we'll talk about in a bit more detail shortly. And the third option we talked about was a transition into part-time work and semi-retirement. So those were the three options that we looked at last week. So today we're going to spend time talking about the second of those three options, which is transitioning from employed to self-employed. Now, for some of you, as part of your career planning goals, you might decide that you no longer want to be in employment. You no longer want to be working for somebody else. It's perfectly fine. But the next question that you might have is, how do I make that transition? How do I go from being a 9-to-5er to being captain of my own destiny, so to speak? And making that transition can be quite difficult. And for a lot of people, it's one of the things that really puts them off making an attempt. So your starting point is really to have a very clear idea in your mind what it is that you want to do. So what are the options that you want to explore? Because once you are clear, then you can start to make the rest of your plan. So last week, as I said before, we talked about career planning. So as part of your career plan, you have hopefully already identified the career path you want to go down. You've identified what skills you need. You've identified the particular route and the particular profession that interests you. So assuming all of that is in place, the next step is, how do you make that happen? Now, in order to make that happen, you need a couple of things. The first thing you need is you need to have money. You need to have a certain amount of income. And the amount of income that you have will help you make during your transition. I'll come on to talk about that in a bit more detail shortly. The second thing that you must have is actual clients. And you might think, well, how do I do that? But you need to have some clients in order to begin to build your business. So those are the key things that you need to have. So let's just recap. You need to have, as part of your transition, you need to have a very clear plan, which hopefully you already have, what it is that you want to do, what are the skills that you need to have in order to make that transition. The second thing is financial planning, and the third is getting your first client. So let's go back to looking at the financial plan. Having a financial plan is critical to any career change, because if you don't have a plan, for many people, it means that you're going from having a steady income to perhaps not having any money coming in. So how are you going to survive? How are you going to keep up your day-to-day commitments? That could be anything from paying the mortgage, just any general bills that you probably have. How do you make that transition? It's quite scary. And so what you need to do before you make a full commitment to any career path is to make that plan. Have a plan about how you're going to set aside money. If you are fortunate enough, as some people might be, that you have a partner and you've talked it through, and you do have you know that you've worked out what your outgoings are, and you know that your partner can shoulder the financial outgoings for a given period of time, then you can move at a much more rapid pace. If, however, you don't have a plan, a financial plan, and you don't have the money, then what you need to do is build up to that. So what you need to do is look at all your outgoings, have a really clear plan, and really identify how you're going to put aside a certain amount of your income towards your business. Because as part of growing your business, you will need to have capital, you will need to have marketing, you will need to have a website perhaps, you will need to go out there and explore how you get clients, and the way that you do that will vary depending on the kind of profession that you want to go into. Some you might need to buy a lot of material. If you decided that your chosen profession, for instance, was you wanted to open a coffee shop, now you're going to need quite a bit of capital. It may be that the amount that you need is of such a size that you need to get a loan. So in order to have that, you will need to have a business plan. You will need to approach the banks or any provider that you choose, and you'll need to have a very clear plan on how you're going to borrow that money and how you're going to repay it over what period of time. So having a really clear financial plan is critical before you commit to a full-time transition into your chosen career. The second thing that is really helpful to you is having at least one client, at least one. And the reason why having a client is really important is because having a client allows you to get testimonial. Whenever you're starting a business, you need to have somebody who can vouch for you. It's no good me just saying to you, I'm a career coach and I can do all these wonderful things, if I could, because you only have my word for it. You're more likely to buy into what is being put on the table if that person is able to offer you testimonial of somebody who has used your service and has benefited from it in some way, shape or form. That gives you credibility. It gives you social standing. It gives what is known in the marketing vernacular social proof. That is the thing that you need. So it helps you once you've got at least one. It then begins to snowball, and it's easy for you to go out and say, well, I know that what I'm offering is a good product. I've got evidence, I've got testimonials from people who have used my services, and they've achieved results as directly because they have used my services. So that's the thing that you really need to have in order to start to build. Now, you know what your circumstances are, but for some people, the transition will be gradual, it will be incremental, it will be starting slowly. It may mean that you still have to do your day job, and perhaps as your business starts to build, what you might do is go from full-time to part-time so that you can spend some of your time on your business and you still know that you have income coming in. For other people, you're able to make that really big commitment and you're able to go into it full-time from day one. Clearly, if you go for the latter, you're going to move at a much faster pace. But it really, really will depend on your circumstance. But in any event, no matter what route you decide, whether it's a full immersion into your new career or whether it's a gradual one, the thing that you really must have is a plan. So that's today's topic, how you transition, how you make that change from being employed to unemployed. If you would like to know more, if you'd like to be part of our group, I have my group, my Facebook page group, Career Changes After 40. There are others in the group. We all would love to hear from you. So please do feel free to join our group. And the other thing we also would very much appreciate, if you do feel that this what you've watched today has been of value to you, maybe it will be of value to one of your friends or colleagues or somebody you know who is thinking about making a transition from where they are to where they want to get to. And again, if that is the case, please share this video with them. You never know, they might thank you for it. So on that note, I hope your Saturday is going well, and I hope you continue to have a good and restful weekend. And I look forward to speaking to you again next week on Career Saturday, when we will be talking about the transition from being full-time to part-time as part of a semi-retirement plan. So I hope you found that useful, and I look forward to hearing from you. Please do join our Facebook group if you're not already in the group, and we would love to hear from you. Any questions, comments, or suggestions about what you'd like me to talk about Facebook Live next week. Thanks.